Previously on Road to the Kenyan Premier League, we went back on the road to face third on the table Kahawa FC. They had already beaten us this season, and in the rematch, we went down a goal with just 5 minutes to go. But then our captain, Luis Moniki, spotted their keeper wandering miles off of his line, and he hit it in from 40 yards out into the top left corner to steal a 1-1 draw. Might possibly be the best goal of our season. And then on Wednesday, we opened the books and covered all of June finances, one of the best financial months of the year. Now, here we are. This is it, the last game of the season. And there's still a lot on the line as we are fighting for third place. And our whole season will be decided in these next 90 minutes. Win in third place is ours, lose or draw, and we drop to fourth or fifth. Standing in our way is Victor's Faith, the one team in this entire league that we have not played all season. And on top of that, this is Coach Kim's last match as head coach of this squad, and two men who were in the very first Kahawa Pride starting 11 back in 2022 are playing their final games for the club. Oh, and we have our third signing of the summer to announce. So lock in, because we are closing out the season with one of our biggest episodes yet. You are now watching Road to the Kenyan Premier League. What's up, everyone? My name is Hayes Knupp, JerseyBird founder and your host of Road to the Kenyan Premier League, back with another huge episode to close out the season. So let's get into it. Before we start, if you want to support the project, there are three main ways to do so. First up is the Lions Den, the official club Discord, where we host watch-alongs, discuss unreleased news, and interact with players. It is the home base of our community. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's also a great way to support the club. Second up is the KPFC 10 for 10 deal. If your club is in need of new kits and apparel, visit JerseyBird.com, tap start a project, and we will pair you with a JerseyBird designer who will create some awesome kits just like the ones you see in our videos. And lastly, if you just want a simple way to contribute, visit kahawapridefc.paperform.co, where you can just donate or become a sponsor. We look through every single submission. Go check it out. Thank you guys for all the support. I will link everything in the description below. Now back to the video. Before we get into the match day, let me show you what the week prior looked like, because on Thursday night, the entire men's squad and a group of our Lionesses went to a basketball game. But not just any basketball game. The team they went to watch is the Nairobi City Thunder. And if you don't follow Kenyan basketball, these guys are the best team in the country. They've won the National League 2 years in a row without losing a single game. They're basically like the 2016 Warriors super team, but they don't lose in the championship. And in 2025, they became the first Kenyan team in history to play in the Basketball Africa League, which is the biggest club competition on the continent. So kind of similar to us. We're headed for the Champions League. They're already playing in the Basketball Champions League, so we have something in common already. So our boys spent Thursday night courtside watching the best team in Nairobi. We got there early, about 4 in the afternoon, for an 8:30 tip-off, played some basketball, hit the photo booth, and at the break, Lewis went out as our captain and Nettie went out as our director of football, and they swapped jerseys with the Thunder at center court. And then we got some dancing in as well. So overall, it was a great experience all the way up to the final buzzer, and I want to thank Nairobi City Thunder for hosting us, and we'd love to do it again sometime. And then it was Saturday, match day, and it all came down to the next 90 minutes. Our final match of the season at home in front of another sold-out Mahiga primary crowd. And it was a great feeling to be back at home after being at several crazy different venues around the city. There was no better way to finish out the season on our own ground with our own people, which is arguably one of the best venues in the entire league. We came into this game fourth on the table with 55 points. Kamango has already finished their season with 58. But if we win, we go level with them on points, 58 to 58, but we take third place on goal difference. But if we draw or lose and Mentors win their last game, which they almost certainly will, we will drop all the way to fifth. So it was simple. Win and we take third. Anything less and we get knocked off the podium completely. And one note, Victor's Faith are the other 3-point penalty that we are still carrying from our inheritance of Union FC spot, the club that dissolved in this regional league, the club that we actually jumped up and took their spot, inheriting their 2 losses. One was to Jacaranda. They got removed entirely from the league for hooliganism, so that one got wiped out. That -3 got taken off our record. The other loss was to Victor's Faith, and this one is still on our record. We still do have the appeal pending, but that is why we haven't played them yet this season. Technically, we forfeited the game when Union had our spot. We took the loss to them, the loss. But yeah, now we are finally playing them for real, but we still do carry that -3 that is still under appeal. Before we get into the match recap, there was a red carpet on the pitch because this was a day of goodbyes. Some of the most important people in the club story played their final match today, and the club had something planned for them. I'm going to give them the send-off that it truly deserves at the end of this video, so stick with me for that. For now, just know that this was not only the last game of the season, but for a few of these people, it was the last one, period. And the boys turned up to this match dressed. Suits, fits, the whole 9 yards, posing for the cameras like they were arriving for a Champions League final. And this all started actually with the Lionesses, who all season have been doing themed arrivals, 1 week formal, 1 week anything, turning match days into a social media moment. And then Mapogo did it for their last game. And for the final match of the Alpha season, the men wanted their turn because they hadn't done it yet. And it was the exact same thing you see pro teams do, you see national teams do it, rolling up to the match like it's a fashion show. But our squad, a 5th division team in Kahawa West, did the same, and I think they pulled it off. Here is the starting 11 Coach Kim named for his final match. Junior Munyao in goal, a back 4 from right to left of George Uma, James Masharia, Sidiki Otieno, and Stephen Kiarie, Marvin Okech and Austin Ochieng anchoring in the midfield, then Felix Kamau, our captain for the day, Robert Manyora, and Rahimu Salehe just behind Brian Masharia, who was up top at striker. Very similar to our Kamongo lineup, but Manyora came in for injured Moniki, and Marvin Okech was back in the lineup after he was out with his own injury. The match kicked off, and it was a tight one from the start, exactly like we thought it would be. This was not one team parking the bus. Both sides were going all out, and Victor's Faith had some very, very high pace that kept pressuring us, and they were generating some chances early. If it was not for Junior Munyao in net, we could have been behind early, but he made 2 or 3 really strong saves in the first half. One of them a fingertip save that then went off the bar. Really clutch save from Junior there, and it stayed level. We go into the half 0-0. And then at halftime, the club did the first part of the farewells, which I will come back to, but let's cover the second half first. In the second half, we lost our goalkeeper. Junior Munyao, who had already kept us in the game, went down with an injury and could not continue. And what happened next was one of my favorite moments from the entire season. On came Mohamed Nguvu, the keeper the boys all call Moody, and if that name doesn't ring a bell, there's a reason. Nguvu fractured his fibula earlier in the season, and he has been out for months. This was his first competitive appearance of the entire year, coming on in the final match with 3rd place on the line, something real to play for. The whole ground got behind him, cheering him on as he went into net. And from here, the game really opened up. Both keepers had to be alert. We had chances, they had chances, but as time ticked by, it looked for a while like it might stay goalless.
And formerly known as Kahawa Sportive Soccer Academy. It's a moment! Yeah, he's a good fan of Manchester United, but yeah, he's well known as Lewandowski. They call him Lewandowski because they see him, the patience, the composure he has, the height that he has. He's known as Lewandowski. Yes, Brian Masharia, jersey number 57.
Brian Masharia. The ball came off a rebound from their keeper, and Brian was there to calmly finish it. And here's the thing about Brian, if you don't know him yet. He is not a player from trials. He's not someone we brought in from a scout. He grew up with this club from the age of 7. He is a true homegrown talent, and on the last day of the season, with 3rd place on the line, he puts us ahead 1-0. From here, it got very tense. Victor's Faith threw everything they had at us, and in the 82nd minute, they went down to 10 men after a second yellow, but they kept fighting, set piece after after set piece being sent into our box, which if you followed us this season, you know this is the exact type of thing we don't want to see. We've conceded a lot of set pieces in the past, and it was really starting to worry us as the 90th minute approached. And as that time ticked by, Coach Kim was on the touchline, taking in his last minutes ever in charge of this club. But the 90th minute came and went, and nothing got through. 3 minutes of added time, and then the final whistle.
Trying to start for Doku, and it's over. It's over, 1-0 in the favor of the home team, Kahawa Pride. Not Kahawa Pride Lioness, but Kahawa Pride, the main team. Position 3, they secure it. And I would really like to give you thanks.
1-0, we take the win in the final game of the season and secured 3rd place on the year. On Coach Kim's last match in charge in front of our home fans, the boys got the job done and they sent him off as a winner.
I can say we have come from far. We were bottom of the table. Finishing number 3 is an achievement to us. I can say it's a great thing.
I just want to thank them for this season. We've really fought hard. We didn't start well, but we've shown that it wasn't for that. But they've really fought and shown who they are. They've really shown the boys have really shown who they are, and it shows that like they are the true Lions. Yeah, thank you.
After the season we've had, the last year where we got relegated, 3rd place really is something to be proud of. And while obviously it's not an automatic promotion, I am very, very happy with this final result. And the man of the match was Siddiqui Otieno on a day where we had to defend for our lives. Set piece after set piece raining into our box, he was the one standing in the middle of it all, clearing everything that came his way. He had a near perfect performance. Now, the piece I told you to stick around for, because as much as today was about closing this season out, we are already building the next one, and we are locking down the players who got us here. Our 3rd man to sign officially for a new 2-year deal is our goalkeeper, Miguel Karani, aka Karani Mamba. Karani has been our #1 goalkeeper all season. He's kept us in games where we had no business being in them, and he has now committed his future to this club. So that is now Marvin Okech, George Uma, and now Miguel Karani, all signed for the next 2 years. And we have more lined up, and I will be covering them every single week. Now, there was a small side story I have to tell you guys about, because you might have noticed on the stream, we went without commentary for a little bit because our usual commentator, Greg, the legend himself, could not make it. He was at a funeral. So Jason, who some of you have heard as our secondary commentator throughout the season, had to step in and cover. But Jason works in radio and he had his own show to be at. So halfway through the match, he had to leave and we were left with no commentary. Obviously, that was not acceptable to Alvin. So here's what happened next. Fred Opio, one of our staff, also a former player who has been here as long as anyone. He's coached our youth teams and our Mapogo squad for 2 seasons, and he is one of the longest serving people in this entire organization. So he has the knowledge to step in, and that's exactly what he did. We handed him the mic, and with zero prep, we just told him, "You are now the commentator. Good luck." And it was his first ever time commentating in English. Normally, he does it in Swahili. Regardless, he was brilliant. The live chat really lit up. They supported him, and he got a lot of positive feedback because he wasn't just calling the game, but he was telling you who these players were and where they came from.
He has grown up in this team since as a kid, since at the age of 7. He's not from the trials team. He has grown in this team since the age of 7.
Now, don't worry, Greg is not going anywhere, but we have to give Fred some credit for stepping up on a whim with a lot of pressure in the final game of the season. So thank you, Fred, for stepping up. And match day also brought some serious guests to Mahiga. We had a Kenyan national team defender in attendance, Alphonse Omija. This is a man who came up through the Gor Mahia system, arguably the best club in Kenya, and he now plays internationally in Turkey. And he didn't just show up and do nothing. He spent time with our boys after the final whistle, talking to them, giving them advice, the kind kind of thing that young players at this level never forget. And on top of that, Abel Mutua also came to the game. And if you're not in Kenya, you might know the name, but Abel is one of the biggest content creators in the entire country, an actor who helped change the entire scene here with a following in the millions. And he presented Coach Kim with a mounted, framed jersey as a send-off gift. For a club that relies so much on social media, having somebody like that who has been at the highest levels of social media turn up on the biggest day of our season really means a lot to us. So thank you, Abel, for coming. On the women's side, we have some major updates as well. Last episode, I told you guys that our own Tabitha Wambui was part of the Kenya squad that just qualified for the U17 Women's World Cup coming up in Morocco this September. But what I didn't get to show you guys was Tabitha herself, talking about what it meant to her, what it felt like to qualify. So here she is.
As everyone knows, World Cup is the best tournament in the world. So I am excited to have this opportunity to participate on it. It will open more opportunities to me and to everyone who is following my path. So the feeling is amazing. We are so excited because we watch World Cup in the TV and now we have confirmed that we're going to participate on it. It means a lot to me as a person, also as a player. It will create a lot to my life. It will change my life and to many more. It is a privilege to me and to the girls that I left back on that club. It's a motivation. I feel proud of myself because I have become an inspiration, an idol to many of the young girls watching me. And I would like to motivate them, despite the background they are coming from. They can achieve more. And also don't forget where you came from.
And Tabitha is not the only remarkable story from the women's side of this club. A couple episodes back, I mentioned Amani Ernst, one of our alumni who now plays all the way in Australia. She actually just returned from an international trip to Germany. There's a lot more to her story. I will be covering it in depth soon, so keep an eye out for that down the line. So back to the table, this is where we finished. Third on the table, 58 points, 18 wins, 7 draws, 7 losses, 42 goals scored, and 22 conceded. And again, the win today took us level with Kamango on points, but we beat them on goal differential, so we took third. Not bad coming off a season of relegation. We actually should have been playing in the 6th tier, but like I said, another team in our league dropped out. We jumped up, we took their spot, and managed to finish third. Before we close this one out, let me hand out a few season awards, just a recap of everybody's performance on the men's side, because some of our players had very strong years. Our top scorers level at 8 apiece, Felix Kamau and Louis Muniki. Most assists, no surprise, Louis Muniki again with 5, and the most player of the match awards, which we give out one every single game of the season, was won most often by Marvin Okech 4 times. In between the post, the Golden Glove goes to the man we just re-signed, Miguel Karani, with 9 clean sheets. And a quick mention to the young striker who won us this last game, Brian Macharia, 4 goals in his breakthrough run this year. Not a bad way to end the season. Our Lionesses finished 2nd on the table this season, and our Mapogo boys, the U19s, finished their season with a 2-0 win, and they also went and got themselves nearly 3 million views in 24 hours just for walking out and aura farming before their match last week. Which brings me to another fun fact. This week, Kahawa Pride passed AFC Leopards on Instagram, which means that out of every single club in Kenya, we are now the 2nd most followed team on Instagram. So thank you guys for following us and supporting us. Crazy how we've gone from basically a no-name club in Kenya to the 2nd most followed club in the country. It really is cool to see. And now for the last part of the video that I have been saving the best for last, because as I mentioned, a few of the most important people at this entire organization walked out at Mahiga on Saturday for the last time. Coach Kim has taken his last match as head coach after 16 years. And here is the craziest part. Most of the players didn't even know. They found out on that day, and you can see it on their faces. These players were actually getting emotional as it sank in that this was their last time that they would be playing for Coach Kim after such a long time. When the club brought out his framed portrait, some of them thought that the ceremony was for the players. They had no idea it was a goodbye. We spent his whole final day with him from the morning at his house, just a normal day, hanging out despite it being his last match as head coach. And then there's Matthias. Most of you know him as our CEO, but you might not know how he ended up here because it is one of the craziest stories about this club. Matthias is Swedish and half a decade ago, he was working with a Swedish club called Elfsborg. There was a Kenyan defender at the club named Joseph Okumu, and Matthias ended up meeting with him and started following what he did off the pitch back in Kenya. And that connection led him to a little community in Kahawa West called Kahawa Sportive Soccer Academy. He came to visit in 2020 just to see what they were working on, and he never really left. He fell in love for what the club was trying to accomplish, and in January of this year, he left his entire life behind in Sweden, moved to Nairobi full-time just to dedicate himself to the club and focus on building this new foundation that hopefully will last for decades to come. 7 months on the ground every single day, putting in work to move our club forward. And on Saturday, he was pitchside for his last league match before heading home. And just to be clear, Matthias is not going anywhere as far as working with the club. He's just not going to be in Kenya anymore. And the club also gave him an emotional send-off along with a framed version of the very first Kahawa Pride jersey that JerseyBird ever made. And then there's Stephen Kiari and Kevin Mina. You saw Kevin come in early in the second half. He came on for Raheem Musalehe, and he got his moment, and the whole ground stood up and clapped for both of them. These guys really are two legends. As I mentioned, they were here for our very first match back in 2022, and this will be their last time on the pitch for Kahawa Pride. Here is that photo from back in 2022, our debut match against Premier League side Kariobangi Sharks in the Nyayo Stadium. Here is the shot of that starting 11. You can see Kevin Mina and Stephen Kiari here in the image. Louis Maniki was also here, so he is now the only one that remains. So big shout out to Stephen Kiari and Kevin Mina, legends of the club. They will never be forgotten. And some of you might be wondering, why are they leaving the club? And here is the honest truth about why, because it gives you an insight about what Kenyan football is really like at the grassroots level. They're not leaving us for another club, but they are leaving us for work and career. Stephen has taken a job in hospitality and management out in the Gulf, a real career, the kind that pays, that you can really build around, and he cannot pass that up. Kevin is going to now help run his family's business back home, and this is a common story with players at the grassroots level. Football gives them everything in their early life, but then the real world comes calling, a job comes up, family gets involved, they have to take it because football at the 5th tier does not pay the bills. So again, big thank you to Stephen Kiari and Kevin Mina. We wish you the best in your careers, and thank you for everything that you brought this club.
Opportunities kama mchezaji na pia exposure pia imekuwa poa. Moment forget ya first launching of Kahawa Pride tukiwa Nyayo Stadium. Ilikuwa moment memorable sana.
Since I joined the club, it's been a nice experience, first of all. It has helped me grow discipline-wise, character-wise, and also knowing myself better. Yeah.
So there you have it. That is the 2025-26 Kahawa Pride season. But just because the season is over does not mean that the content is slowing down. 3 hours from right now, me recording this video, I am getting on a plane and I'm headed back to Nairobi. On the 28th of July, we are hosting our 4-year anniversary match, and we are pushing hard to have it at Nyayo National Stadium, the same ground where this club played its first ever match in 2022. That is still TBD. We'll see what we can do for the venue, but we are working hard to make that an awesome event. We have more signings coming up to announce, and we have a whole off season ahead of us, so there is plenty of action still going on. The season is done, but the show absolutely is not. If you like the show, drop a like, drop a sub, comment where you are tuning in from. As always, you can catch new episodes of Road to the Kenyan Premier League every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys for the incredible amount of support, and I will see you in the next one.